To create a logical volume, we start by creating a partition. So let's do fdisk on dev stb. As you can see, we have two partitions currently existing, and we have lots of space still available, about 800 megabytes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type n to create a partition. I can do it as a primary partition. I make it as partition number 3, and then I do first sector and I give it a size of 100 MB, and then I'm done. Now, to create partitions that you want to use an LVM setup, there is something else you need to do. You need to change the partition type. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type T on part number 3. I type L for an overview, and let's have a look. You can see something that looks like a Linux LVM. There it is. We need partition type 8E to verify this. Correct. Then I do W to write the changes, and part probe to boost the changes to the kernel. At this time, I'm ready to create my physical volume, my volume group, and my logical volume. In this setup, I want to start doing something easy to understand, so on my partition, I'm going to use a physical volume. I'm going to create a volume group on that top of that partition, and then I'm going to allocate all available disk space as logical volume. So that would be done by pvcreate in the first step. Now pvcreate and all the other LVM related commands are very well documented, so I recommend that you type pvcreate --l to get an overview of all the available options. You'll hit enter. As you can see here, there is one required option to create a physical volume, and that is the physical volume itself. So now let's do pvcreate on dev stb3 and hit enter. It tells me that dev stb3 has been successfully created. I can verify that by typing pvs, which is short for physical volume. It shows me that I have a PV that's named SDB3. It's not in a volume group yet. The format is LVM, and it has a physical size of 100 MB and the same size that's available. So now I can put it in a volume group. Let's do vgcreate --help to get an overview. And in this case, there are two required options. I need to specify a volume group name and a physical device path. So vgcreate my VG and dev stb3. Now the volume group name is something that you can really choose for yourself, so anything goes, but I'll highly recommend that volume group name starts with VG, as it makes a lot easier to find the volume group at a later stage. So again, I can type VGS this time to see that I have VG my VG with one physical volume. It doesn't have a logical volume as for now, and it has a size of 96 megabyte. As you can see, 4 MB have been used for metadata, and that's normal. Now the next step is to create a logical volume, and again I'm doing lvcreate --help. As I know I'm expecting a lot of output, I'm going to pipe it to the less utility, which gives me an overview of all the options that are available. The important thing that you can see here is the volume group. We need to specify a volume group, and we also need to specify the size. There are two ways to specify the size. And what are those two ways? One is the extent, and then other one is the size. You can count the number of extents, which are nothing but building blocks, or you can just use uppercase L to specify the size and anything you like MB, gigabyte. There is one more option that I highly recommend, and that option is going to be the -n option, the name. -n allows you to specify the name of the volume. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create lvcreate -n for the name, my LV -l for the size, 96 megabytes. You remember I still have only 96 megabytes available in my volume group, and VG my VG should do it. And as you can see, it does. Logical volume LV my LV is created. At this point, I can use LVS to verify that it exists. So let's do LVS. Now since it exists, I can put the file system in. Because it's a very small volume, I'm going to use a ext2 file system. It's a really old file system, and the only reason I'm using it is because it requires very little metadata. It doesn't do journaling, so it's very lightweight. So mkps.ext2. Now the name of the LVM device is typically /dev/vg my vg /lv my lv. So the idea is /dev/volume group name /logical volume name. So now I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see, we are done here. You can see that the file system has been created. Now let's try and see if we can mount it. So mount /dev vg my vg /lv my lv, and let's mount it on /mnt directory, which is made for that purpose. So mount pipe grep caret /dev shows me that the LVM volume has been mounted. That's how you mount.